Welcome back to Our Candy Rose for those who stay, in loving memory of my daughter, Candace Rose, who lived from 2007 to 2025, and for every heart still finding its way forward. Your life will never be in vain. Everything we do will be in your name. I want to start today with a question I asked myself tonight. What if the reason you feel behind isn't because you're doing too little, but because you're forcing yourself to do way too much? Tonight I sat in a room with scissors, glue sticks, strangers turned into neighbors, and a glass of wine, rosé to be specific. It was calling my name. As you know, that's my favorite way to make a decision. And I realized something important about healing. It doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks quiet. Tonight, I made a vision board with neighbors that turned into new friends. And I remember looking at it afterwards and thinking, is this enough? It's not cluttered enough, you know? It wasn't loud, it didn't scream productivity, hustle, or renovation, reinventation. And for a moment, I felt that familiar pressure. The one that says healing has to be visible to be valid. But then a different truth settled in. What I've created isn't just the vision board. It's a soft landing place. A place I can return to without pressure, without performance, without needing to know what comes next. So in that moment, one of the girlies gently said to me, because I was like, well, there's all this empty space. I don't know what to do with it. Like, should I just put more stickers or, like fill it up so it looks nice like your guys's? And she goes, you can write in the empty spaces. And suddenly the parts I thought were missing became the most important part, because the empty spaces aren't my failures, they're room. I've created room for moments that haven't happened yet. I created room for words that I don't have yet. Room for a version of me that hasn't arrived, but will. And that matters more than any perfectly created plan. So when all of us girls were getting started just cutting things out of magazines, just things that were, calling our name, one of them was like, getting started, and it always looks worse when you get started than to where you want to end up, right? And with all my work on myself, I'm like, oh, like, just remember it can be imperfectly perfect. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so right. Like, thank you so much for saying that. But at the same time, like, those are the exact words I have to tell myself all the time. It's okay to be imperfectly perfect. So I had to eat my words and look at my own vision board and know that it is imperfectly perfect. So, and that matters more than any perfectly curated plan, like I said earlier. So now I'm really looking forward to seeing what will be calling my name to add to it on what I'll be writing in those spaces this year. Do you want to see it? All right. I don't know how to do this. I mean, all you can see is my ring light. I mean, there's nothing too personal in here, but shiny squirrel, This says Heart of NC, North Carolina. Sorry, that was my fault. Mic check, 1, 2, got it. Okay. These are my hippy dippy stuff, like the incense and crystals. These are some healthy foods, blueberries and granola, you know, like hippy dippy stuff. This one says explore something new. This is a piggy bank, you know, I'm gonna try to save. And then 5 clicks of Amazon and Saranaya poster. Saranaya? No, that's not how you say it. Saranaya. Oh my gosh. Whatever. You guys can come at me for that. This one says, I may not always win, but I never back out of a fight. Come at me, bro. Or bruh. Candace, that's what she would say. And then do all things with love. There's a bunch of little butterflies here, just some artwork with, you know, had fun with some scissors, gave it some texture. Then of course we have a boat here, and the beach here, and the mountains here. Ooh, cupcakes. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. Some more art, and then this one says something good is going to happen. So that's it. And I will write in those empty spaces when I feel like it, when it calls my name, you know? So let's take a look. What's next? Here's something I'm learning, and maybe you need to hear it too. Not every season of life is meant to be clear. Some seasons are about stabilizing your nervous system, learning how to be in rooms again, practicing presence without explanation. Those are very hard. If you're always forcing clarity, you leave no room for truth to emerge organically. Healing doesn't require a roadmap, it requires permission. Space. So this is a learning point, right? Space is not emptiness. We live in a world that worships fullness. Full calendars, full schedules, full plans, full explanations. But space is not emptiness. Space is where integration happens. The empty spaces on my board are not unfinished. They're alive. They're waiting for my handwriting, for dates, for small wins, for the truth of how the year actually feels, not how I think it should look. This board, it doesn't ask me to become someone else. It just holds me where I am. It doesn't demand strength. It doesn't rush healing. It doesn't ask for proof that I'm doing better. It says, you can come back whenever you need. Add one word, one breath, one moment, and then rest. There was something else that happened tonight. I talked about being a mom. Someone asked, wow, you have a child? And I said, yes, I have 2. And that was it. No explanations, no backstory, no collapse, no oversharing and trauma dumping. And I realized you can carry your truth quietly and still honor it fully. You don't erase love by not explaining it. You don't betray grief by protecting yourself. Boundaries are not denial. They're wisdom. So maybe a vision board isn't about predicting the future. Maybe it's about creating a place safe enough for the future to arrive. This isn't about chasing a version of life that looks impressive. It's about building something that says, I don't need to force the vision. I will meet it as it reveals itself. If you're listening and thinking, I don't have it figured out, my board looks too simple, my life feels unfinished, let me say this gently to you. You're not behind. You're integrating. You're allowing yourself to leave space. You're allowed to move slowly. You're allowed to create something unfinished and call it sacred. Sometimes the bravest thing we do is stop demanding answers from ourselves and create a place soft enough to land. For those who stay, we remember this is your permission to rest inside the becoming. This is your soft landing place too. I love you.